All right, guys, today I got a pretty interesting lock. Mul-t-lock used to be called Rav Bariach, and then at some point they spun off. They're still manufacturing these, at least up until 2015. I'm not sure I got the pronunciation right, but it is pretty close, so forgive me if I'm wrong. Interesting because it's very much like a mul-t-lock. This one is brand new. It's a loaner lock, so I got to be kind of a little bit careful with it. It's interesting because of the pinning. Now, notice we've seen interactive cores before. This one actually has two interactive elements, but they're a little bit different. We've seen interactive elements like this before. Usually they're cut at the same depth, but this one, the inner pin is cut lower than the outer pin. So this isn't a pin that we're going to be able to bully like we normally do. This one is completely different. This one, when you look at it from the side, let me push up that with my finger, you can see that that inner pin sticks up quite a bit further than the other one. It could potentially be a very, very deep cut inner pin, which would be really difficult to get at. Or, because this is a ball bearing that is spring loaded, it could also be a very high cut. Impossible to tell. So while this might be for key control, this one is probably a security measure. So nobody could simply take a picture of your key and have a good idea of what the bitting is like. So those are the two that we really have to figure out. The rest of these are standard pin-in-pin, like mul-t-lock pins. So let's go ahead and give this thing a try. I'm going to go ahead and clamp it up. I am not going to destroy it, but we'll still be able to gut it because the Rav Bariach has threaded plugs in the top here. So once we get it gutted, or once we get it picked, we'll be able to gut it by pulling those out and taking a look at the pins. All right, I think that's going to hold him. Make sure the key works. The actuator's free here. Just want to make sure, though. All right. Hopefully we don't need that key anymore. I'm going to try some top of the keyway, or some Z-wrench in the side of the keyway, but I want to make sure that I don't bind up against the side or pinch any of the rear pins by putting this thing in cockeyed. And I really don't want to wrap my hand around it either. Let's try to pick it. Let's try to go counterclockwise. And that way, most of my hand is out of your frame. Let me zoom in. You can see a little bit closer. Come on, camera. Let me lighten this up a little bit. All right, I think that'll be good. I'm going to try this guy. It is a salver pick that I filed to a point to give me a little better control of the inner pins. So let's try it. Let's try moderate tension and try to find a first binder. So just slide in till you find a binder. 1, 2, feels like pin 3. Okay, that was the outer pin of 3. Nice little click. Pin 4. Outer pin. Nice little click. Pin 5. Outer pin. And he mushed on me. Yep, he mushed on me. I might have just overset 5. Let's see if anybody else is binding up. Okay, that was 3 again. All right, 5's back up. That's a nice click. I will take that one. Okay, that was pin 1, outer pin. Oops. Started to get a little hung up on there. All right, I've gone to really light tension. These are really sensitive pins. Okay, that was pin 2. He started in counter rotation and he stopped. Okay, that was pin 3 again. That was pin 1, inner pin. Got a nice click and a little turn of the core. That was the inner pin on pin 4. My pick is stuck. All right, where are you? Oh, that was inner pin on pin 1. That was pin 5. I got a very deep fault set. That's about the 3rd time I set that inner pin. I'm getting counter rotation on inner pin on 2. Let me get centered on him. Come on. Tiny target. And I think we got him. Check 1. Okay, I just touched 1. We got a really deep fault set going now. I just touched 5. I got the 3rd click on the inner pin on 5. I have an incredibly deep fault set. And there we go. Wow, those inner pin springs are like nothing. The opposite of super springs. All right, that took a while. Let's go ahead and gut him. I can gut him, I think I mentioned earlier. I'm going to go ahead and take out these screws on the top. So we're looking at the long side is the side that I picked. So let's see if we can do that. Let me turn the camera down. Keep everything in frame. We'll take this guy. Let's see, let's go ahead and lock him. I do have a key. There we go. All right, let's pull these guys out. We'll start with 5. Let me find a tensioner or a Allen wrench. I did check it beforehand, so no more guessing. This is 2.5 millimeters. So we'll start with pin 5. Let me get this down a little bit more. There we go. Okay, tweezers. Obviously inner pin, outer pin, and this guy. All right, let's try the next one. We'll look at him a little closer in a moment. Let's just concentrate on not screwing this up, Bill. These are Loctited in place. I'm glad I got the T-wrench on it. Whoop. Well, I know there's another one in there. There he is. Okay, we got a spool. I like these threaded plugs. That way I don't have to cut the lock in half. Well, they're a little resistant today. Let me jiggle it a little bit. There he is. Pin 2. That one is really tight. I mean, the bolts on the head of my Jeep engine aren't that tight. I'm going to jiggle him with a key. Maybe we can get that second pin to fall out. There he is. And the last one. No wonder this thing gave me so much trouble. Look at these pins. Okay, that should be everybody. All right, let me get these tweezers and arrange these guys. All right, let me look at the inside of here to see if we have the groove, and I don't see it on this guy, nor on him, nor on him. It doesn't look like any of these have the inner groove to grab the little serration on here, on these guys. Okay, so we got all standards on the bottom except him. He is a spool. And then on the top, we had all standards except this guy. He also is a spool. I don't know why this gave me so much trouble, but he sure was difficult. In terms of the interactive elements, you can see that these guys are really short. So very high cut, just as we thought. No big deal, though. Anyway, guys, appreciate your time. Stay safe, stay legal, and I'm so happy I didn't destroy this lock. Now I can give it back, practically undamaged. Thanks, guys. Hold on, before you leave, click that subscribe button. And while you're there, click that notification bell as well. If you'd like to be a sponsor, click there, and for $5 a month, you get all kinds of benefits. If that's not enough free stuff, hit the Lock Lab. We've got a self-paced lockpicking course with over a dozen modules at the bottom of the page. Join the tribe. Subscribe.